I have been with my wife for a total of 17 years. We have been married for almost 9 of those years. We have 2 children, one who is 3 years old and the other who is 1. My wife and I are very close to each other's families. Over the years, most of our friends have become mutual friends because of our long relationship. That's why I haven't shared this with anyone outside of this space. I know that once this information becomes public, it will have consequences, and I need to be prepared for how things will unfold. The first time I discovered something was wrong in our relationship, which we refer to as the first D-Day, was over 3 years ago. At that time, my wife and I were expecting our first child. I must confess that the unborn child and the fact that I couldn't find any evidence of them meeting in person played a significant role in our decision to reconcile and work things out. Some time ago, I stumbled upon old emails and text messages that contained affectionate and passionate content. I confronted my wife about these messages, but she didn't reveal the full truth. I was in a state of confusion and believed her promises that it wouldn't happen again. I was hurt and only listened to what I wanted to hear. The person she had this intimate message with, referred to as affair partner, was someone she had met while playing a game online. I didn't have concrete evidence that they have ever met in person, and my wife always maintained that their interactions were solely online and through social media. Fast forward to about a year and a half ago, I discovered that their secret chats were still ongoing. My wife had left her phone in the car, and I saw messages from AP coming in under the disguise of a female friend's name. I read as much as I could before my wife realized I had found it. She quickly took her phone from my hand and rushed to delete the entire conversation before I could finish reading the whole thread. I suspect that this had been going on for several weeks, if not months, behind my back. When the second time I found out about this happened, there were many tears shed. My wife claimed it was a one-time slip-up and a mistake. She assured me it would stop, and she even said she had messaged the person she was having an affair with to let their spouse know about it. However, I didn't believe her anymore, and trust had eroded. I decided to ask her to leave our house, and a few days later, she dropped a bombshell. She told me she was pregnant and that the baby was mine. I doubted her, as I suspected she was having an affair with someone else, making it unlikely that I was the father. This created a lot of tension, not just between us, but also among our families. During her pregnancy, we were no longer together, so I didn't contribute in any way. However, I still had to see her because we shared a child together. I watched as her belly grew, but I didn't want to have anything to do with her, thinking I wasn't the father. However, when she gave birth, we had a DNA test done, and it turned out that I was indeed the father. She and her family used this to pressure me into getting back together, making it seem like it vindicated everything they had been saying. Even though I still had doubt about her honesty, after a lot of hesitation, we eventually decided to reconcile. At this point, we had our second child, who was just a couple of months old. Most of my time and energy outside of work was devoted to taking care of both kids. Then, fast forward a week ago, I had this strong feeling and intuition that something was wrong again. We had seemingly overcome her past mistakes and were doing well in terms of raising our children and spending quality time together as a family. However, I couldn't completely put aside thoughts about my wife and AP, although I tried to do so for the sake of our children. This time, after that uneasy feeling, I decided to install a spy app on her phone while she was asleep, and I placed a hidden camera in her office. To my shock, that very morning, I discovered through the spy app that she was once again communicating with affair partner. I was able to read their affectionate conversation, which also contained explicit image and discussions about intimate activities. There were instances where she recorded herself using toys on herself and sent those videos to him. A few days later, I made use of a hidden camera to capture evidence of them engaging in virtual intimacy in her office. why I pretended to be asleep late at night. At this point, I have gathered all the evidence I need. However, my anger has driven me to dive deeper into uncovering more about their relationship. Shockingly, I have learned that their affair began around 12 years ago, even before we got married. Now it feels like I'm the one on the outside, as if I am not the main person in her life. It seems that my entire marriage has been built on lies. Discovering that the person I love deeply has felt this way about someone else and has been concealing it from me for over a decade is something I can no longer bear. Although she had previously claimed that her relationship with the other person was never physical, witnessing the virtual encounters affected me just as profoundly as if it had been a physical affair. Currently, I am completely focused on gathering every piece of evidence I can before I reveal the truth about their affair to her family, since they have caused me a lot of pain and made my life very difficult during her pregnancy by accusing me of fabricating the entire situation and pressured me to reconcile with her by using my child and newborn as a way to manipulate me. Right now, I am in the process of trying to find a lawyer, but it's proving to be a challenge because most lawyers are usually recommended through personal connections. As I mentioned earlier, I haven't been able to confide in anyone about my situation, which had made it impossible to get recommendations for a good family lawyer. So I'm relying on online searches to find one. I intend to adopt the Grey Rock and 180 strategies, but it's tricky during this covert information gathering phase because I don't want to give off any signal that I am aware of their actions. She still seeks intimacy from me, but I am not inclined to reciprocate those feelings. I know that the path ahead will be tough and uncertain. What I really wanted was to share my story, to unburden myself, and hopefully offer some help to someone else going through a similar situation. I am thankful for all this advice, support, and feedback I have received. Do you have any suggestions on how to confront the situation without revealing how much I have uncovered? I am not planning to confront her just yet until I have met with an attorney, but I am curious to hear what has worked well for others in similar situations. I already have the truth, and you're correct that I don't have to prove it in a court of law like they do on TV dramas. Maybe I have seen too many of those shows over the years and thought it had to be more complicated than a simple statement. I will be speaking with a lawyer in a couple of days. At the moment, I am at a crossroad between divorce or separation. Reconciliation is not an option because the pain runs too deep, and I can't continue to be in a situation where I feel like I am not a top priority. I also plan to reveal information about her affair partner, as I have all the details about him. I have gathered emails and chats that indicate affair partner is 40 years old and married with 2 young children as well. I have come across some new information that suggests that affair partner has been married for about 6 years, and my wife had told him that she was ready to leave me for him if he hadn't gone through with his own marriage. However, he decided to get married to maintain his fake marriage while continuing his relationship with her. It seems like they have been living in another state for at least the past year or two. I also discovered her menstrual tracking app where she kept a record of each time they engaged in CyberX, dating back to 2019. They had this virtual encounter sometimes multiple times a week, but then would take breaks for a couple of months here and there before resuming. Just last night, they engaged in CyberX again while I was pretending to be asleep. She would wait until I was out, then go up to her office to do this. I checked this morning and confirmed it through my voice-activated recorder. The troubling part is that I believe she was likely trying to initiate physical intimacy with me to fulfill the physical desire while fantasizing about the other man. This pain is incredibly painful as I uncover more and more unsettling truths, but it's helping me wake up to the harsh reality that my marriage is a complete lie. I met with a divorce lawyer yesterday. Although I haven't officially filed for divorce yet, I have a plan to expose her in an unconventional way. First, I will reach out to the other betrayed spouse and expose their affair. After that, I am hoping the affair partner will inform my wife about my knowledge of the affair. If my wife doesn't come clean after learning that I know, next step would be to contact her family who have been supporting her and show them all the evidence if necessary. Finding the affair partner's wife on Facebook wasn't difficult. Nowadays, people share a lot of personal information online, making it relatively easy to locate them. I gathered all the text messages and conversation between her husband and my unfaithful wife and sent them to her through Facebook. I also provided my phone number in case she had further questions. 2 hours later, she called me, shocked because she had no idea about the affair. I explained to her that my wife had been her husband's cyber affair partner. It was during this conversation that she revealed her husband had visited my state multiple times, claiming it was for business trips. This new evidence clearly shows that she had met up for actual encounters, which was information I didn't have before. The other betrayed spouse didn't disclose her future plans, but she expressed gratitude for providing this crucial information. The following day, I had the unusual satisfaction of watching my wife becoming increasingly uneasy around me, wondering why I hadn't confronted her yet. She had visible eye bags, suggesting she had been crying, possibly because she was questioning why I hadn't addressed the situation. I observed messages between her and her affair partner, where affair partner warned her that her phone was being monitored, and I know everything. It took my wayward wife an additional 3 days of crying in secret for her to finally admit the truth to me. Throughout this time, I pretended not to be aware of what was happening. She was confused and attempted to challenge me to stop what she perceived as torment. The day after, I reached out to her family as it was time for them to face the truth. I shared with them the text messages to demonstrate that she had been involved in an affair at the time she became pregnant, even though I was the one who fathered the child. They were left speechless by the revelation. On that same day, I served my wife with divorce papers and informed her that I would be moving out as I had already found a place to live. I also got in touch with the other betrayed spouse and we discussed how she had recorded him, admitting that my wife meant nothing to him and was merely a side affair and he didn't want a real relationship with her. I sent this recording to my unfaithful wife and her family just to make sure that they were fully aware. I am currently staying in a studio apartment temporarily while we go through the divorce process. Her family has also reached out to apologize to me. I have chosen to maintain no contact with my unfaithful wife, and any communication we have is solely related to our children on an app. Thank you for staying till the end of this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, let's get some reaction on the comment section. Thank you.